Hello and welcome back to the 90-minute channel, not podcast, because we do more than just podcasts now these days. Where today I'm going to be going into my Premier League predictions from the start of the season, which I made on UNN. And now I'm going to be going through my predictions and comparing them to what different YouTubers got. Now, how am I going to go through these predictions, you may ask? Well, I'm going to just go through what I got, and then I'm going to use the scoring system used by Spencer FC, because I've been watching him do this ever since Leicester won the league title, and it's a solid system. So every team that you predicted, you look at how many places off you were, and it's kind of like golf. You add up all of your points, and you're trying to get as low as you possibly can. So let's get straight into it. Well, to start it off with rock bottom, most people had Luton Town to finish rock bottom, but I thought, you know what, let me be a little different. And I did also look into the squads of like the teams that were coming up, and it pointed out to me that Sheffield United's squad was really, really poor. And poor they were. I put them to finish 20th. They finished 20th. They are one of the worst sides to ever have graced the Premier League. I mean, they've conceded more than 100 goals this season. More than 100 goals this season. I mean, that's the first time that's ever happened. I mean, Derby County is still the worst ever Premier League team with 11 points. But this team had 16 points. Just as a reference, last season, rock bottom had like 25 points, I believe. And the season before that, around that number as well. So to get 16 points is really, really, really poor. But yeah, in hindsight, it doesn't look like that good of a prediction. But if you think about it, at the start of the season, most people had Luton finishing rock bottom. I didn't have them there. Well, I did have them in 19th, which brings us to the next prediction. I had Luton Town to finish 19th. They actually finished 18th. I think everyone was rooting for them to stay up, because they were actually in 17th for a while. They were in and around there, almost trying to 17th, 18th. They were really fighting to stay up, and they were close too. They were a fun team to watch, fun players. But I think in this day and age, with the amount of money that teams get for staying in the Premier League, it's going to be more and more difficult for these championship sides that come up to stay up. So, yeah, Luton just about missed out. I mean, even with the point deduction for Nottingham Forest and for Everton, they still couldn't capitalize on it. It's just too difficult. But they had some memorable games at home. For example, the one against Arsenal, the one against Liverpool. I think that regardless, they've had a good season. They've left their mark on the Premier League. I think everyone that watched the Premier League this season will always remember Luton Town. I mean, they came from League 2 to Premier. It's a beautiful story, and unfortunately, reality has hit, and they are going down. But they finished 18th. I predicted them to finish 19th, so I'm only one spot off there. I'm not too disappointed with that. But this next one, I am a bit disappointed with. I predicted Wolverhampton to be the third team to go down. Now, going into the season, they had Lopetegui, and then he got fired, and there was a lot of noise around, they're gonna, what's it called? There's some problems with the board. There's issues here, there's issues there. Adama was leaving. It was a mess. It was a mess, and because of that, I kind of went, you know what, like, out of all of these teams, like, the Premier League teams are quite strong, so like this is probably the weakest one. But I put my hands up. I was wrong. They finished 14th, not 18th. And yeah, Gary O'Neill did a very good job. Now, going into these predictions, I did not know Gary O'Neill was going to be manager, because it was still Lopetegui. Like, keep in mind, these predictions were made before a ball was even kicked in the Premier League. So I'll put my hands up. They actually had a pretty good season. Gary O'Neill had some. Hwang Hee-chan had a good season. Ait Nouri had a good season. They had a pretty decent season, to be fair. So props to them. They did not go down. Fair enough. Now, who did I have missing just about staying in the Premier League? This is another one where I don't know why I put them this low. And it is Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth going into the season had just sacked Gary O'Neill, and they got, I don't even remember who it was that they got, the manager, but they sacked him a couple months in, and then they got Iraola, who actually ended up finishing off the season. He didn't have a good start, but at the end of the season, they were kicking the ball around nicely. That team was playing some good football with Solanke, Justin Kluivert, Senesi in the back. They were playing good football. I mean, they beat United twice, or did we draw away to them? I don't know. Either way, they should have won 4-0 at Old Trafford, that's for sure. So instead of finishing 17th, they actually finished 12th. So they actually had a really good season if you think about it. So yeah, once again, there, big mistake from me. That's a big that one's on me as well. Don't get on to me, Bournemouth fans. Now in 16th, I had Everton. Now this is keeping in mind, I don't think there was that much of a murmur around Everton potentially getting the point deduction at the start of the season. I don't think there was any noise around that. So I didn't know anything about them potentially having it. But they actually finished higher. With the point deduction, they finished higher than 16th. They finished 15th. So this one right here, 1 point off, I'm not gonna be too disappointed by that. But so far, every single team that I predicted, except for Sheffield, actually finished higher than I predicted them. So I've violated every single one of these teams right here. And that's on me. I mean, I guess I didn't see what their manager saw. Sean Dyche for Everton. I didn't speak on it too much here, but Sean Dyche for Everton. Well done. Well done. I didn't think he would do this well. I mean, especially that Liverpool game to kick Liverpool out the title race. That game was, whoa. I mean, who knew that Dyche would still be this effective in 2024? And fair enough, he done what he had to do. Now this next one is another one that I'm not happy with. There's a lot of howlers here, so to speak. It's not, my predictions have not been that good. Now you have to keep in mind, this is before a ball is kicked, so not all the transfers are done. There's injuries, there's managers, there's point deductions that you just can't account for. But I put West Ham to finish 15th. Now I was thinking they sold Declan Rice, going into Europa League. They'll struggle. That's what I was thinking. But they didn't struggle. I mean, it kind of went under the radar, but they actually finished 9th, which is top half of the Premier League table. And no one's really talking about it, but without Declan Rice to finish not fair play, West Ham. I didn't see that one coming. I think a lot of people didn't see that one coming. West Ham had a quietly very good season, and they actually went quite far in the Europa League as well. But Kudus really hit the ground running out there. Paqueta, we know how good he is. But they've actually got a quietly pretty good team. So fair play to West Ham. I didn't really see that one coming. I put them 15th. They finished 9th. So that's another 6-point differential. These are not good numbers here. I picked up a 6, a 5, a 4 already. Those are big misses to make. And this next one, this is the first one where I haven't predicted a team to do worse than they did. I actually predicted this team to do better than they did, and actually a lot better. You're probably thinking, why have you mentioned them yet? I put Burnley to finish 14th. Yeah. In hindsight, that is poor. That is so poor. I mean, I was riding the train that everyone else was riding at the start of the season of like, oh, Burnley play in the championship. They were playing this tiki-taka ball under company. They were playing everyone off the park. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, at the start of the season, this is my train of thought. Like, okay, against the big teams, they'll struggle because you're just not going to out tiki-taka a big side, or like a top 6 side or even a top 10 side. But I was thinking, yeah, but if they play against like a Nottingham Forest, they play like that, they might pick up points. They'll have a decent season. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, if you're going to play like that in the Premier League, but first of all, they did lose a lot of key players at the start of the season as well. So they literally got worse from last season. And yeah, you're going into the Premier League playing that style of football with a worse team against better teams. I mean, it was only going to be a disaster, wasn't it? It's a shame that all 3 teams that promoted instantly went down. I don't think we've really seen that happen before. At least I can't really remember. And like I said, I mentioned it earlier as well. It's just a sign that like it's going to be harder and harder for teams that come up to stay up because of how much money these teams that are staying in the league are getting for just staying in the league. So it is a bit of a shame, but yeah, I put Burnley to finish 14th, and they finished 19th actually. So that's another 5 points picked up. Another big miss from me there. But next we've got Nottingham Forest, who I put in 13th. Another team that I thought was going to perform better than they did. Now, why did I think they would finish 14th? They still had Steve Cooper. I think that's what his name was, the manager. And the thing is, what I was thinking, right, was like last year they just about stayed in the league. And I thought that was because they bought so many players. And then at the end of the season, they figured out how they were going to play because they finally got it to work. And I thought, you know what? They know what to do now. Now they're going to have a better season now. They know which players. They have some depth. No, I was wrong. I completely wrong. They even had a point deduction as well, which, I mean, that one you can't really do much about. But they sacked Steve Cooper halfway through the season. They got Nuno. Nuno got them playing some better football, kept them in the league, but they didn't really have a good season, to be honest. They didn't really improve enough. So Nottingham, you guys should do better, but I put them 13th. They actually finished 17th, just about staying in the Premier League. So that's poor from Nottingham. Nottingham, next season, you've got to do something to avoid going down. Now, next, in 12th place, this is one of my better predictions here. I put Fulham to finish 12th. They actually finished one place lower. They finished 13th. So I'm not too angry at that prediction right there. 12th Fulham finished 13th. They had a good season last year. This, by Fulham standards, is also a decent season. I mean, they'll be wanting to push more into the top half of the table. I mean, you always have to stay ambitious, but I think this is a decent season for Fulham. They were never in the real shout for European football, but they were never in the shout for relegation either. Crystal Palace vibes, you know. But yeah, I think Fulham, they got Raul Jimenez, who everyone thought was going to make a comeback, but didn't make a comeback. Muniz had a very good season. The manager, Silva, good season as well. Rejected an offer from Al Hilal, I think it was, to stay at Fulham. Showed his commitment, had a good season, had a couple good results. Believe they beat Liverpool away, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I think they did. Yeah, they had a decent season, man. Fulham, well done. Good prediction from me. Only one place off. We take it. Next, got another good prediction. We've got back-to-back good predictions here. I put Crystal Palace to finish 11th, and they finished 10th. Now, my thinking here was, okay, Roy Hodgson had a good end to the season last season. When Vieira got sacked, he had them playing football, and they didn't have too much transfer business in the summer. But when you look at that team, those players, Eze, Elise, all getting a year older. They did get rid of Zaha though, but that wasn't confirmed yet when I was making these predictions. But nevertheless, the first half of the season wasn't too good from Crystal Palace. Never really, to be fair, they were like close to relegation, but they were never like in and around there. They were like 5 points off at some point. But towards the end of the season, when they sacked Roy Hodgson and they got Glasner in, Mateta just started playing differently. And he's actually ended up with 16 goals in the Premier League, I believe, which is very good for a Palace striker. And yeah, Glasner had them ticking, man. When we played them away, that game 4-0, we got absolutely smashed to bits. So yeah, Palace had a really good end of the season. And I think this is a good prediction from here. Yeah, I put them 11th. They finished 10th. So they even did better than what I put them to do. But hands up, Palace. Well done. Now, next, we've got another howler, to be honest. We've got another howler. I don't know why I put them this high. Actually, I do know why I put them this high. It's Brentford. I put them to finish 10th. They finished 16th. 16th? Yeah, they finished 16th. Yeah, Brentford. See, the thing is, I knew everyone knew that Ivan Toney wasn't gonna be, starting till like January, that he wasn't gonna play. But I didn't think that it was going to have that big of an impact, because I thought that Brentford, their system, their manager, the way the club is set up with all of the data analytics, I thought, like, it's not a one-man show, Like, this is a whole system. And Tony's just a part of the system. But clearly missing Tony was a big, big miss. And when Tony did come back, he had a decent couple games against, like, your Cities and your Arsenals. But then towards the end of the season, the form kind of dropped off a little bit. And Buemo had a really good start to the season. Wissa as well, but with injuries. But I don't know. Brentford really disappointed me this season. I thought they could have done a lot better. I thought that they would start aiming to push for European football at this point now, but they've actually ended up almost relegating. So Brentford got to make some changes for next year. Ivan Toney looks like he's going to be leaving as well. So Brentford's going to be a very interesting case next season. It could be a very mixed bag. From one howler to the next howler. Now, this one here does not have as many places difference as Brentford, because Brentford was 6 places off. This one is 5 places off. I put Villa to finish 9th. Yeah. I think this is one of my worst shouts. Villa to finish 9th. They actually finished 4th. See, going into the season, I thought, right, Tyrone Mings is their key player, right? And I thought, like, he stops them from conceding set pieces and headers. So if you're going to have Pau Torres and Konza, or I forgot who else it was, but if you're not going to have Tyrone Mings in there because he was injured and they bought someone to replace him, like, you're going to struggle because some people are just going to score headers against you. But Emery, fair play, man. He's had a phenomenal season. I mean, he's had them playing crazy football. I mean, at home they held Pep's Guardiola City to 0 shots on target or 1 shot on target. I think either way, they were playing some phenomenal football this season. Actually got far in the Conference League as well. Got knocked out by Olympiacos, which kind of I didn't really understand. But Villa, I'm sorry, that one's on me. I didn't see this one coming. In 8th place, I put Brighton. Brighton, this is a miss as well, because I actually finished 11th, and Europa League definitely hurt them. That's why I put them 8th, because I think they finished 6th the year before that. So yeah, I was thinking Europa League might hurt them, but I don't think the Caicedo and McAllister moves were done yet at this point, because like I said, this was done before a ball was kicked, not before the transfer window was shut. So transfers were still going around after my predictions. But even if I had known that, I would have maybe put them 9th or 10th, not 11th, because I didn't think that losing those players would be as big of a miss. Just like with Tony, this Brighton is also a team that's like the whole club from top to bottom is aligned in how they want their system to play, how they want to structure their team. Like, this is such a well-run club that it doesn't, like, in my opinion, I didn't think it would need to rely on individual players that much, but clearly it did, and it did hurt them. I also think Europa League hurt them, but they got knocked out by Roma. But to be fair, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I always kind of felt like Brighton were going to struggle in Europe, because in Europe, if you play expansive football, you tend to get punished for it a lot, because teams like to sit back and counter because it's safer. It's knockout football. You're just trying to not lose rather than create consistent chances. So I did kind of see this coming in terms of European football, but the prediction nevertheless was wrong. And again, 3 points off is not too bad, but I definitely put them way too high. And next season, we'll see what they've got. Now, this one I'm happy with. This is a good prediction for me. Like, I cooked with this one. I put Newcastle to finish 7th. They finished 7th on the dot. And at the time, this was an unpopular thing to say because Newcastle just finished 4th, had the least goals conceded in the Premier League at the time. Now, I definitely thought, okay, yeah, European football is going to hurt them because that's a lot more games. The Tonali bans, there was a bit of rumors around it, but it wasn't confirmed yet, so I didn't know about that. Now, they definitely got hit by a heavy injury crisis. I mean, as a United fan, I complain, but Newcastle, oof, they had one hell of an injury crisis. But they finished 7th, got that one on the dot. Pat myself on the back there. That was a good prediction for me. Very good prediction. Yeah. Now, in 6th place. This is a decent prediction here for me. I put Spurs to finish 6th. I thought, you know what, they won't have any Europe, but they also lost Kane. So it's like, ooh, like that kind of like cancels each other out. As for Ange, we knew Ange was going to be manager. I was interested to see what he was going to have. And he had a really good start to the season. The end of the season, he got sussed out, let's be real. But yeah, I thought they can have a 6th place. They finished 5th. Not bad prediction. I don't think that's a bad prediction at all. And that's where I had Chelsea in 5th. So actually, Chelsea finished 6th, Spurs 5th. I put Spurs 6th, Chelsea 5th. I think I cooked there. I think that's a decent prediction. I thought, you know what, no Europe for Chelsea. Look at the players they've signed. Poch is always gonna do some he's gonna be all right. You know, he's not gonna win a trophy, but he'll be all right for you in the league. And they finished 6th, which in my opinion is an absolute robbery because they were 11th most of the season. And then at the end of the season, when everyone else threw in the towel, they went, right, fuck it, let's go, let's catch as much ground as we can cover, and they did do that. Fair play to them. I mean, hey, they got all the way up to 5th, but yeah, or sorry, 6th. 5th was my prediction. But yeah, these two predictions for me, both of them 1 point off. I think I did pretty decent there. Now, as for 4th place, I had Liverpool. Liverpool actually finished 3rd. So once again, only 1 spot off. I don't think I did too bad there. I think 4th place, predicting 4th place for Liverpool at the start of the season was actually a safe bet, considering what they did last season. I mean, they don't have Mane anymore. It's been a while now, but last season they were really poor. They were going to go into Europa League as well. I mean, they hadn't completely concluded their transfers yet either at this point. So like what their midfield was going to be when I made these predictions was a big discussion topic because it wasn't really sure. And I wasn't really too confident in what they were going to bring forward. So for them to finish 3rd, as a United fan, you have to admit it's actually a pretty good season. We didn't know it was going to be Klopp's last season either. So yeah, you know what? They had a decent season. You've got to give it to them. They finished 3rd. I predicted 4th. Decent prediction. Now is where we get to the stinky prediction. I mean, you must be wondering. Look at his shirt. Why has he not said United yet? I mean, we're all the way into 4th place and he still hasn't said United? I mean, what the hell did this fucking guy say, right? I put United to finish 3rd. They finished 8th. Yeah. Yeah. That's an embarrassing prediction from me. It just sticks out like a black sheep, this prediction right here. Last season we finished 3rd. We had a good season, and I thought, you know what? We've got better players now. Second season with Ten Hag. Champions League. Let's go. I think we can finish 3rd again. We're not at Arsenal's level yet, but we can finish 3rd. I didn't know about the injuries, of course, and all of the off-the-field things that were going to happen. But for us to finish 8th, I did not see that coming. I'll be real. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, that was just poor prediction from me, to be honest. For us to finish 8th, I would have never predicted us to finish 8th ever. No, that was never going to happen. Worst ever Premier League finish. 1 point higher than our worst ever Premier League total points. We've had a horrible season. So yeah, for us to finish, predict to finish third, I think this is my worst shout on the whole list. I'll be real. I mean, I had more point differentials here and there, but this one here is just like so far off the mark. But yeah, we gotta take that one on the chin. Hopefully, we can do better next season. Now, this is where we've got 1 and 2 left, and I think it's fairly obvious who I've put first and second. Yeah, well, I think everyone predicted City to win the league, and so did I. City first, Arsenal second. Both of them on the dot. Perfect predictions. I think predicting City to win the league is not even an achievement. Like, it's so obvious. Like, it just happens every year. It's boring, man. And Arsenal to finish second. I mean, it was just gonna be a repeat of last year, wasn't it? I mean, neither team really lost anyone. One got Declan Rice. City, I mean, a bit hungover from the treble last season at the start of the year, missing KDB as well. But at the end of the season, they just do what they always do, don't they? Arsenal was, in my opinion, the best team in the league, and statistically they were too. Most goals scored, least goals conceded. But yeah, you've got to pick up the points when it matters, and when you lose to Villa at home in a run-in, that's where you lose the title these days. So yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, those are my predictions. City first, Arsenal second, and my total for this year was 50 points. I had 50 points. I don't think that's horrible. I don't think for a first time it's decent. But yeah, compared to other YouTube, I had worse ones than Thogden. Thogden had a really good one this year. Thogden had like 35 points, I think. Mini Minter had like 46. Spencer had 48. I'm only 2 off Spencer. So in my opinion, I actually think that's pretty decent. Because Spencer is an OG in this. He's been doing this since Leicester won the league. So 2 points off Spencer. I think I had like 4 points better than Theo Baker. But yeah, I'll have a list on the side, wherever it is. I'll have it on the side to see where I'm ranked compared to these other YouTubers. But yeah, those were my predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed this different video. And yeah, well, I'll be doing my predictions for next season with Nicholas. Nicholas didn't do them this year because he wasn't doing football content yet. But next season I'll do them with Nicholas. We'll go through them together and then our reactions to it. It's a shame that we can only do this once a year because this season only happens once a year. Let us know if we should do this for the Euros as well. I think we should. Will be fun. Why not? But yeah, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, put the bell, everything, and have a nice life.